Oh, you do get to see it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this episode of Performance Talk. We're going to do something a little bit different today. Me and my buddy, my co-host, my partner, Chris
My
Costa.
buddy.
We're just gonna sit down and talk about some things, some performance, some about the show, some about the guests we've had, and just gonna roll some things up here for you, and we're just gonna keep it moving. Chris, how you doing?
I'm good. Real good. How about you?
I'm always good, man. This is we're sitting here at the table. We're doing something 5 years ago we didn't think probably we'd be doing. Didn't think it would last this long.
I don't know about that. I don't know that I ever felt that way.
Well, I don't say it negatively. It's just that maybe or maybe I just didn't have an expectation. Had goals, but maybe not an expectation. I wanted to find some kind of way to give back, and then you and I partnered up, and here we've been, working through guests and meeting people and having some great conversations over the last 5 years. But I tell you what, that beginning was pretty rough.
I don't think that I thought, not necessarily that it wouldn't still be going after 5 years, that 5 years would go by that quickly. It's kind of, for me, it's kind of as if, wow, it's been 5 years. We've been doing this for 5 years. It just doesn't seem like it. We started out slow, and we didn't do as many episodes, and then we really started to pick it up during COVID. And it's just kind of, it's grown so exponentially, that much larger, I should say, exponentially larger, that that's certainly not something that I would have fathomed. That we would be in the place that we are right now, and that it took as long for us to get there. I figured we probably would be there much sooner, but I think we're just now kind of figuring it out.
Yeah, I think the past, and I don't want to say neither one of us, was committed, but we were committed on a different level, and on a hobby level, on a once a quarter, once every 4 months kind of level, once every couple of months, then once a month. So we kind of went every year. We did a few more, and then like you said, we were doing one a month during COVID when it started, and then we just kind of immediately almost just boomed all the way to. We were almost doing. We probably could have done a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
we were doing one a week, and and then we had to catch the apparatus up with what we were doing with the progress. Then I think that's when I thought, you know what, we should get serious about this.
I remember having the conversation with you about trying to reach out to sponsors like 3 years ago. You were like, yeah, no, I don't think we're there yet. And like, hindsight now, geez, just think if we would have secured some sponsors, like we would have we might be in a little different position.
Right. And just for those sponsors out there today that might be listening, we're looking for sponsors for next year's run.
Sponsors, we need you.
You can contact us at admin@performance-talk.com. Admin.
Don't mess that one up.
Performance-talk.com. So, yeah, we are. We'll be reaching out to some sponsors and stuff later, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But the past was interesting. I think we wouldn't be near as. I'm not going to even put us in any kind of notebook as polished, but we wouldn't be near as comfortable with our format and everything and how we do things that if we'd have went faster. You know what I mean?
We're not polished?
Yeah.
I feel like we're polished. We might not be platinum.
Yeah, okay,
we're working our way towards 10 karat gold, I think.
Okay, we're not gravel. we're not dusty
Are
butts.
we not? We're 925 silver yet? Like, come on.
Yeah, we shiny. Okay, we shiny, but anyway.
Like that fake kind of gold?
Yeah, no, ain't nothing fake now. Nothing's fake. The guests are real. I'm most proud, and when we think about it, the past, even in our past, we had great guests.
Oh yeah, I'm super proud about that. Network,
Yeah,
man.
I mean, we have
Big
had
network.
we have had great guests. They brought a ton of information to our listeners, and I probably get contacted through one social media medium or another once every couple of weeks about how much someone appreciated the listener, or I'm sorry, how much someone appreciated the guest that we had on. And that it was that the episode was just, they could listen to it. They could listen to it for the whole hour, and it wasn't technical, and it wasn't overly academic, and it wasn't too philosophical, and it was. So I think our format, I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
Informal, and real talk, man. Real talk. So
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've always been. I think that's kind of the thing that we pride ourselves on. And I think we do have our guests to really thank for the success that we've had. I think it, falls back on them far more than it falls back on us.
I agree.
We've just been really, really lucky to have some great people with some great experience, possibly even better social skills than even their experiences, just being able to come on and be candid and talk and share and captivate an audience. So I think, we need to praise them as much as we possibly can when we get a chance, because they definitely have helped us, if not been the catalyst for us to get where we are now.
I agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think back to I don't want to get into naming guests. I might end up doing that because there's so many. I want to thank everybody. And I don't want anybody to feel like they were left out. It's all of them that have, they come on and you go, wow, I didn't know that, or wow, that's such a great statement. I wanna get online and tell everybody that.
Yeah.
Or something to that effect. But what I'm for our guest, out there, and for future guests, if you think you might be interested in being on the show, contact us. We're open to a discussion. We try to keep it to professionals talking to professionals. And while we might not accept every request to be on the show, we certainly respect every request. Just sometimes we want to make sure that we stay in line with where we meant our show to be, and
yeah, I think we just sometimes also don't have the availability too.
Well, a lot of times,
well booked.
A lot of times, I tell you what, I know this year, availability was an issue. We were. It felt like we were taping, 7 days a week. But that's great. I guess what I'm trying to say, Chris, is we're open to talk to everybody. We would like everybody to understand that everyone can't be a guest.
Yeah.
And it's not that we're bougie, so to speak, or uppity or anything. It's just, we have to think about our audience as well, and the people that listen to us, and sometimes it's not. It's just, it's a little further down the line than we're going to go in our show, and it'd be great for other shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know that I get a lot of inquiries from salespersons that want to come on and talk about a product they're selling. Well, hey, we'd be more than happy to have you advertise on the show. If you want to advertise on the show, contact us at that email address that we gave earlier, admin@performance-talk.com, and we'll definitely talk about pre-roll, mid-roll, or even a roll up, putting something somewhere for you. But understanding that again, advertising is different than sponsorship. So please be clear about which one you are wanting to do. But anyway, Chris, back to the progress that we made. So we got in 2020 when we started about the second or third week in COVID. We said, hey, we ought to just make a run
Go
at
full
it.
bore.
Yep, and which, holy cow, we had some great guests during COVID. It was pretty, to me, I was like, well, where these people come from?
Yeah, that was like, for some situations, that was some of the first times that we've had people on.
Yeah.
Like some big guests too.
Yeah. I think for me, again, you said it earlier, I'm just very grateful to those guys taking their time out. Because it made a bright spot in the COVID experience for us as far as growth and progress of what we were doing. It also forced us to step up a little bit in our I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, in our approach. No, not really, but in our seriousness about moving the show forward. And I think during COVID, from show 1 to show 5 to show 35, we got better every time as far as progress goes. And like you said, a lot of that is because of our guest from the first one to the last one. But I think, starting to do that professionally and accepting feedback, sometimes some harsh feedback from folks was great.
Yeah. I don't remember any harsh feedback.
Well, I don't remember. For me, I don't remember harsh feedback. As far as we're concerned, because our personalities are such that you can say stuff in a way to us that we're not going to get our feelings hurt for nothing.
Yeah, no, I mean we had some mix-ups, we had some issues that probably a lot of general relationships go through and podcasts and what have you. But I don't think we really ever got. I think all the feedback that we've ever gotten, unfortunately, has only been positive. I don't think we've ever really gotten any negative feedback. Like, hey, you guys need to fix this, which would be really nice. So if there's anybody out there that thinks that there's things we could do better, tell us.
Yeah, just please be professional about it. I don't want Chris to break down and cry. He's kind of soft in that way,
Yeah, we know Chris doesn't cry. Chris usually just has something to say about it. As I speak about myself in the third person.
That's quite all right. I felt that already. But it's the great thing about the show over the last 5 years. Every second of it, as far as progress goes, has been fun. We haven't had any. I say we haven't had any rude feedback. We've had a couple of instances where somebody said, "Hey, why don't you try this, or why don't you try that?" That's how we got to Riverside, or got to this platform, right?
I don't know.
I think so. But anyway, our ability to take feedback, folks, positive or negative, is we will. But we just ask you to be professional about it and be honest. That's all.
Just how we try to be.
Well, how we try to be at all times. Not always that way for me anyway. But progress, the progress that we've made, is something that I think going forward as we continue to build the team is something that we can look forward to and say, hey, we know how to grow this. We know the steps we need to take. Now we just got to do the work. So,
Yeah.
and that's really what that's all about. Speaking of work, talk a little bit about what we're doing now. And now what we're doing this year, actually about a month ago, a little over a month ago, we changed platforms. And that has been an adventure, and it has caused us, a couple of episode breakdowns, that we still thoroughly apologize to those guests for, but I hope you understand that it was progress in the moving. It is progress that we were going through. So. Again, like I said, we apologize for those breakdowns, and we definitely don't mean to waste your time because we don't like our time wasted. But however, sometimes when you're doing stuff like this, stuff just goes bad. And you have snafus, and we learned about redundancy in those situations. But just unfortunately, a couple of times, there's only twice that we just didn't have something redundant to back up. But as a
too many though. Unfortunately.
Way too many.
Especially in this world.
Yeah. So we'll get better at that. We've already gotten better at that, and we've had some smooth stuff working. The last few times, and everything's gone smooth. So, I have no doubt that we'll work out the kinks, work out the bugs, and we'll keep it going. But for right now, like I said, we've switched out platforms, and we're trying some new formats. And one of the formats I'm excited about is what we're calling our roundtable format. And we're picking out the professions that we talk to that involve performance. We're trying to do a roundtable with several of them. We could break them down and try to get to all of them, but we'd never get to all of them. We'd have to start that series in August.
I feel like we only have one more sector that we haven't touched on.
Oh, yeah.
Well, two, theoretically. Sports science and women's specific performance.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably sports science definitely, women specifically definitely, and I know there's a lot of women out there who, don't talk to me about what's it like to be a woman in the strength world. Well, I think there's an audience for it.
No, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about performance aspects that women. I mean, at the end of the day, you're not really training them any much different than you're training a male. But there's the obvious piece of
gender,
our genetic makeup that is a very strong differentiator.
And there is a perspective
men don't have to deal with, and there's certainly some tactics and some things that can be done to help enhance that phase of their life.
That
probably doesn't get talked about enough.
When you're dealing with the triad, the female athlete triad, and then some people like to talk about the Q angle of females and how you train that during movement, and there's some physiological stuff, some physical stuff, some psychological differences that are all different. And when I say women in strength, I mean their perspective on some of that stuff that we don't have. They're training, their ability to train. They can train men or women, but
Absolutely, I watch that every day. There's
yeah,
no
but
doubt about that.
there's men, but there's a lot of men in the performance, coaching arena that could learn from what they know. So I don't think that women realize the value they can bring or the value that they hold by having a perspective as a woman in the profession. Not completely oblivious. That's not what I'm saying for them. What I'm saying is, there's some women out there, and I had a long talk with my daughter about this, and she's in the performance world, just retired right now. But I said, why do some women who are in this performance world, that why do they not want to talk about being a woman and the trials and tribulations and all that? And she said, Dad, they just want to be recognized for being a good strength coach or a good performance coach or a good, and I understand that is fair. That is completely fair. But my comeback for her was, but you have such a unique perspective and you hold such a bundle of knowledge that how else are men going to understand if women don't talk? Wow. Hold on. This is not a relationship show. That's not what I'm trying to say. Okay, I'm stop trying to be funny. But anyway, I would like to hear more of that perspective included with, how they're training. But me, I'm also a psychological and philosophical guy, so I like to understand that part, as well as I can talk about the nutritional requirements and the possible more need for iron and the Q angle. I can talk about those things as well, but I want, and I would like to see personally more women talk about more stuff from their perspective.
I think that can't say
not just being a strength coach. And maybe I'm missing it. Maybe I'm not catching it. Maybe I'm not listening to it.
The women that I know that are in the field are privy to it all, are very aware, are able to engage, across sexes. I don't think there's a perceived relevance there. I think the thing that they perceive and can grasp significantly better is the idea of female athletes and their weight management, whether it be needing to gain weight for performance or needing to lose weight for specifically performance, is kind of the gray area for men, and knowing how to navigate that properly. And the women that are in the field certainly have a leg up in most regards there, because they too are women. They understand it.
Yeah, I think, and this is me from, back in the days when I was training almost exclusively women, with the exception of about 12 men. One of the things I heard from coaches in a variety of sports, women's sports, was that you got to lose some weight so you get in better shape and be faster. When really what they wanted was endurance to go up and for the athlete to be more explosive.
Yeah.
So when they said lose weight, they talking about diets and running 2 or 3 miles a day.
Right.
Well, for the sport, that wasn't appropriate. So now you have a fad diet, and you have, this over propensity to do extra or additional exercise in addition to practice, and you're creating the bad habits that then other professionals are going to have to try to deal with. So it's that understanding that the same as when you look at a man, losing weight doesn't mean being prepared. Just as gaining weight for men doesn't necessarily mean being prepared. It might be part of it. Both of them might be part of it, depending on your sport, the demands of your sport, and your needs. Yeah. But it's we talked to Rachel Stratton on our show, who is a registered dietitian, sports dietitian, and she talked about a little bit about the diet culture. And that's kind of, what I'm barking about, that diet culture in sports where they try to put diet and fitness together. And fitness, quotation marks, is fitness is the athlete's responsibility year round. Fitness for a sport doesn't mean you're conditioned, doesn't mean you're prepared, doesn't mean fitness we use as a coverall word a lot of times in sport. And it's what's fitness? Are you conditioned for the sport? Are you prepared for the sport? Are you ready to play? So those are just someone's opinions, mainly mine, not even necessarily the show's. Chris, you know how I feel about terminology and how we use it, and whether or not we're affecting the athlete with what we just said. But yeah. Anyway, so past progress roundtables. We're gonna have 4 of them, starting on the 21st, and then there are 4 roundtable discussions. I think everyone will like our guest. The first one is with psychology. I think that'll be a pretty interesting one. Everyone wants to talk about mental stuff, so we're working on putting that one together now. But I think that one will be a pretty good jump off. Yeah. And then it's athletic trainers, nutritionists, and then our performance influencers, which are guys who have been everything from strength coaches to instructors to researchers to and been all over the world. So I think the series will be good. The inaugural series, starting on the 21st, is gonna be something that all of our listeners will want to hear. Everybody will want to listen to. What's your thoughts?
I think there'll be each show, when I say each show will be a good transition from our other shows, because we're blending perspectives of a couple different individuals and seeing some contrast in theory and thought and experience, but then also seeing how those contrasts actually merge into being highly effective from like an amalgamation standpoint. When you put it all together,
right,
it creates a more effective dichotomy. And I think that just goes to show us how expressive, how engaged, and how passionate many of our guests are about the end goal, which is, regardless of their sector in human conditioning and human fitness, all of these people have one serious thing in common, which is they want to help other people. who
Service.
got
Yep.
involved in this field because they have an innate, inherent desire to help others, and they're willing to sacrifice a lot of things to help others. And I think that all too often that's not something that, our field specifically, field of strength and conditioning, gets enough credit for.
I would agree with you on that. I think there's a lot of strength conditioning coaches out there and performance directors and folks that touch the athlete or work closely with folks that do touch the athlete. Spend a lot of time. I think there's not been enough credit go around to each professional, both as an individual professions or as a group. I mean, if you think about what goes on with a high school athlete today, minus the head coach, minus the position coach, who's the next guy they're actually really talking to, or a girl, or man, or woman, or person, should I say?
Depends if they have. It's probably the athletic trainer, really.
Yeah,
And then it depends if they actually have a strength and conditioning coach that they staff, even part time.
Right. So they're probably going in the training room and having more conversations that are relaxed and revealing than they're having with their position coach. You know what I mean? So, hey, Bubba, why's your why are you limping in here? Well, I got this cut on my toe. Well, what happened? Well, I got this cut. Well, let me look at it. And you look at Bubba's toe, and he's got a big slice in it because he was cutting the grass at home, but he didn't tell anybody, got his foot under the lawnmower a little bit or whatever.
That's quite the story there.
Yeah,
and he only cut his toe. That's good for Bubba.
Well, I didn't want to make it sound like it was something real. I was just trying to make a point. So that sounded pretty ridiculous. But a lot of times the athlete won't tell you what he's not going to tell the coach what happened. She's not going to tell the coach he feels bad. He's not going to tell the coach, the guy they played last week that they're going to play again in the playoffs in 3 weeks because that's their only loss is 10 times stronger than he is. He's not going to tell him those things.
Yeah.
But he's going to go tell the athletic trainer, hopefully in there somewhere, the strength coach and those kind of guys, hey, look, I got my ankles turned and this guy's a hoss and I don't know if I can handle it. He's going to tell the strength coach that. Or he's going to say it, he's going to tell the athletic trainer that. He's going to say it like this. Well, you know why that guy kept beating me is because I turned my ankle in that game. Okay, I got you now. You're telling me you're hurt. You see what I mean? He's not going to say that to the coach.
Yeah.
So the girl that's running down the court and her her medial side of her leg, all from her groin down to her ankle, is killing her. Well, you can't figure out why she's limping. Go ask the trainer.
Yeah.
And he knows exactly how it happens because she's going to say, oh, I was up on the wall at lunchtime and I jumped down and I went this way and that's what happened. Okay.
Yeah, it's always funny the stories that you get from an athlete and then the story that you get from the AT.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have some alignment, but there's usually some major key pieces left out.
Yes.
Like the screeching and the screaming and the squealing when something small had to be done, like cleaning of an abrasion or
right. Don't put that stuff on.
Setting of a bone, or
just leave it in there.
Look at it.
I had a kid that had a dislocated shoulder in a football game, and he was screaming at me to put it back in. And if it's dropped way down, that's a job for a doctor. That's the AT doesn't do that. If it's just a little bit of subluxation and you're trying to straighten it up, you can, and it'll go right back.
Yeah.
But when he's already frozen, which is what we used to call it when you dislocate something and every muscle around is so tight that you need some pharmaceutical care to relax enough so somebody can manipulate it. That's you can't do that on the field. You got to go to the ER or wherever.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we've slipped a little bit on that note. But I agree with you on the guest of the roundtable, man. I think they bring so much to what we're trying to do, and to rounding out the year for the show. That I think, if this goes the way we want it to, or even close to the way we want it to, we can continue these and get, every year do something like this. And for the future, that can be something we're looking forward to. And also something that we can look forward to having sponsors for. Once again, if you would like to sponsor a Performance Talk, you can contact us at... Go ahead, Chris.
Well, I think it's admin
Yes.
at performance-talk.com.
There we go. Admin at performance-talk.com. If you think you would be interested in being a performance and talking to our audience, let's have a conversation. We can kick that off an email and go from there. And if you're interested in advertising, just make sure we know which one you're interested in when you send us a note. And we'll definitely get back to you. We're looking for advertisers and sponsors for 2023. And all right, speaking of 2023, Chris, it's a nice little segue into our future. We got. I'm looking pretty. I'm forward to, or I'm excited about where I think we can go and what we can do in the near future, and in the future coming up.
Yeah, I think there's some potential there for us to continue to grow. I don't see why we wouldn't. But also think we probably need to make sure that we have all the right cards in place and refine a few things, and just continue to grind it out to get better. But seemingly we're getting more listens. Like it's thank you to everybody that's listening to the show. Just keep listening, please.
Well, I will tell you what, we all know, anybody in the podcast world knows that it takes a little bit of a grind to gain an audience. It's a little bit of a grind to, put the team together from a team standpoint to make sure that your processes and procedures all work fine. But it's also, a little bit of a grind to keep things going from a, what perspective am I looking for? From a, just a interest perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to make sure that what you're doing is interesting, and I can tell you, again, if you advertise on the show or you become a sponsor, you're going to be talking to several levels of interest that we have on the show. Chris, you stop me if I miss one, or interrupt me if I miss one. But we have an audience of first athletes, and I'm going from the foundational audience up to, I think, what our kind of specialty audiences are. So first athletes, next students that are going into the profession or thinking about going into the profession, 3 young professionals, and then we have in our specialty areas mid-career professionals and veteran professionals, on levels that are working with athletes and students and future practitioners coming through. So we have audiences on all levels. I mean, we hear from athletes, we hear from parents of athletes, and researchers. So if you want to, if you're thinking, who is the audience and who would be interested in the performance world and what I have or would like to see me working with Performance Talk. I'm telling you, there's a bunch.
Like our show says, it's all things performance. So
right.
There's a little bit in our show for everyone.
So it's one of those things. I think that not every podcast does, and we've hit a unique niche where I think by saying performance talk, by being performance talk and talking about performance on all levels in all professions, that opens up our audience and has given us a great mix of content to deliver to our audience. In the future also, look for a website. Website will be coming out in 23. Look for possibly a YouTube channel where there's going to be different content on each one of those. All will be found on the website, the podcast, YouTube channel, all our social media get moved over to the website. So you can find all of us, all of Performance Talk in one place.
As it should be.
As it should be. As it should be. But from there, what do you think, Chris? Future?
I think we just keep doing what we're doing. Honestly, I think it's just going to morph into what it needs to morph into without us having much effort's not the right word, but without us having much influence on that. We're going to put the effort in. We always do. And we need to if we want to continue to stay on the pathway, but I think we just need to stay that course.
Like my granddad used to say, let it be what it's going to be. Don't try to make it into something it can't be.
Yeah, I heard something yesterday, and it comes from I think his name's Kime Bloom or Kame Bloom. He's with the Red Sox, but basic statement was there's a need for a relentless pursuit, and this relentless pursuit of improving the smallest things or making the smallest improvements, and just having that focus on that minute amount of excellence, working on the smallest improvements and never giving up on that. And I feel like that's just, we can take that into account with the podcast. We can take that into account with our professional careers. Not to say that the podcast isn't professional, but
no, I know. I understand exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
And we can transfer that over to our listeners and our athletes and our guests. That that really is the crux of what every day should be, is just having that relentless pursuit towards smallest improvements.
Well, I think on this show, ladies and gentlemen, what we've always tried to do is, above anything else, is give you great content, great guests, great subject matter, and that's what we're going to continue to do. If we can get a little bit better every time, then we feel like we're doing our job, and we're giving you what you deserve. And hopefully what we can do is also put together some things that to give you a peek behind the curtain a little bit of what some folks are doing, also to help athletes and those kind of things. And hopefully the website and the YouTube channel and those kind of things will help out with that. But just the content that we bring, and be completely honest, not all of it will be free, but it'll be affordable. It won't be, don't look for ridiculousness, because the biggest things Chris and I go through sometimes is trying to pay for something that you're not getting your money for, or your
Oh, yeah.
money's worth out of. So that's one of those things. So anyway, Chris, you got any last words for our audience today?
I don't think we really have talked about our final question to our audience.
Well, I think you want to bring it up.
So I don't think we need to repeat the question. I think we kind of already know what the question is, especially if you've been listening to the show. If you haven't been listening to the show, then you might need to go back and listen to some more of the old shows so that you get some context here. But who's your athlete? Who's your position?
Okay, so my athlete that I think can play that plays a position that allows him to be able to play any other position in sport at a high level, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
So I think I gave one answer before. I can't remember which answer I gave.
I know
which
what it
one
is.
I said. You're looking at it. Which one did I say?
No, I'm not even looking at it. I just know.
Well, remind me. I'm old, man. Shit.
Defensive end.
I did say I'm going to stay with defensive end, especially in today's world.
Maybe you said D-back, but I thought it was defensive end.
No. I'm pretty sure it was defensive end in today's world because I look at him on the basketball court as a point forward. I look at him on the ice in hockey as a defensive guy in the center. I look at him in soccer as probably athletic enough to play goalie, but fit and physical enough to play, either a center mid or a holding forward at the top. So, and I could go through a whole bunch of sports, but defensive end is usually that guy, or if you, in sports. And yours?
I said lax midfielder. And that's kind of cheating on my hockey players, my hockey world. But, I think that hockey has that unique, very, very, very unique skill that you have to master first before you can play the game at an extremely high level. And I just don't think that, a lot of people can skate. It's one of those special things.
Right.
Anybody can get out and run. It might be sloppy. It might be inefficient. But if you have two legs and you're able to use both of them, then you can run. You might be able to have two legs and use both of them, but being able to skate is something that's really, really hard to do and really hard to do well and efficiently. But, I got to say, I'm a terrible basketball player. Terrible. So I can't say that a hockey player is a center, is the most ideal athlete for all sports because, I can't play basketball.
Well, I
can hit a baseball. I can hit a golf ball.
I think we can't forget to ask that question on our live, which I was saving for last, on our live edition of the roundtable.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Which is planned, I say this like this, which is planned for December 14th. Again, the live edition is planned for December 14th. Time to be determined. So watch.
Yeah, we'll put it out there a week in advance at least.
Yeah.
With the date and the time, and we'll remind everybody via Twitter and LinkedIn, and we'll be sure to pump that out a lot. So, and it'll be recorded, but you're not going to be able to access it unless you have our subscription. So be prepared to subscribe in the future so that you can get access to that. Or if you're not thinking about that right now, but maybe thinking about it later, just make sure that you listen live. All right. You'll get to hear all the little snafus. You'll get to hear all the stuff that gets cut out, every single time I mess up or Ewell mispronounces the name. It'll be on there.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to mispronounce the name. I apologize to.
There's only one. There's only one that's going to be hard to pronounce. Everybody else is easy to pronounce.
Yeah, we'll see. I have no, I have no shame about it. But
clearly not.
But at first glance, a lot of times I'd like to do better, but I'm not doing it on
Hey,
purpose.
that's the worst thing that you do. Then so be it. We'll take it.
So, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a while since Chris and I just sat down and had a talk, and we thought we would do this one with you. So we're gonna get ready to wrap it up right now, but once a year we'll do one of these right before the roundtables, hopefully. Right before the round table, hopefully right before the round tables, and then we'll keep you updated on more of what we got coming up with Performance Talk for 2023. We're looking forward to it. It should be exciting. Chris, any final words?
No, this has been Performance Talk with Ewell Gordon and Chris Costa. Today's guests were Ewell Gordon and Chris Costa. This is the first since way, way back in the beginning.
Yes, indeed. All right, and we're out.